day. It's been a minute. I know I promised my subscribers and watchers that I was going to come up with this couple of videos explaining this new wave of information that we stumbled across here that predates the Bible. So I'm basically going to live up to that, even though it took forever. I came across these videos. There's 2 videos I'm going to have that I'm going to break down in sections, analyze and analog over it, so we can break it down, the videos, to see. Now, these videos, I don't really study this channel. I don't know who these people really are, but it seems that all the videos I watch from them make a lot of sense. And I used to base my studies and everything off of facts and knowledge all the time, and I still do that. You know, of course, that's very important, facts and knowledge, but they're basically the icings on the cakes. It's really common sense that you should base your studies off of, because we see that common sense is what Christians lacked, right? Common sense is what Christians lacked not to see the Bible. Because, you know, I'll give you an example. Like, you got the churches, and they'll tell you in the churches, like, the Bible, you know, if you ever go to churches, different churches, you'll see this theme across the whole church, that the Bible is in harmony. The whole Bible from front to back is in harmony, from front to end. This is so far from the truth, as we've seen in these videos that I've showed you. The Bible is nowhere near harmony. You know, we got a God that claims to be God and claims not to do certain things that he does all the time, that he does worse than even the one that he says does them. You know, we got the son of that God, who's supposed to be the son, exposing that God, saying that he's the one doing all the things of the devil, not the devil. The devil, he's doing all the killing, stealing, and destroying. And he really is. So it's not like it's a lie, like it's hidden. So we see that the Bible is just not in harmony, so we've been lied to. What else we've been told? We've been told that the Bible is roughly anywhere from 6,000 to 7,000 years to whatever, how many years old, and that's when people first started, and God had no beginning and came from all. We've been told all these things, right? But yet we find human skulls and monoliths and things around here that's over 300,000 years old, 200,000 years old. You're like, okay, so who are those people? Christians even try to put it together to make it seem like, yeah, them 7 days could have been 7 million years. It could have been, even if it was 7 million, it still don't add up. You know what I'm saying? What I'm trying to say is this. Basically, I've stumbled across some videos, and they seem to break it down pretty, it's hard to break this right here. And it kind of satisfies a lot of questions that we all probably have with Christianity and the truth of life, period. But this video is going to go into some deep depth, and what we're going to do is we're going to break it down. So I'm not going to hold you up any longer. I might as well just get to it. Now, bear with me here. You know how I do my thing. I don't got the video on video. Even though I could download all that stuff, whatever. But I just do this, like I said, to show, to get with the people out there, to see if anybody's thinking like me, to see if anybody's seeing what I'm seeing, you know. And this video here, like I said, some of you guys are probably in tune to this channel and what they do here, you know. But this video here is gonna open some eyes to you, to give you a vast, for you to think for yourself. That's what I want you to do with these videos. We're going to break them down. I'm going to do them in like maybe 20-minute intervals, 25-minute interviews. I don't even need the video that long. It might be just 25 minutes. But we're going to break it down, and it's going to make the video longer. So, you know, this is for you to do your own homework. I want y'all to comment and tell me what you think about what you see here and what you hear. Because people that's on this channel, you're gonna be in tune to something. All right? So let's see what it is. Here we go. Don't mind my, like I said, don't mind my setting here. It's a little bootleg, but that's what you do. Like, when you people like me, you just bootleg. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's go. Oh yeah, I don't got the YouTube without the commercials, so forgive me, guys. 10 seconds, this will be over. Look at these 2 puppets, y'all. You see those 2 puppets they just showed? Puppets. Puppets to the society that you're about to learn about.
So here it is, the real story of Earth as I've been told. This planet was not the result of a big bang or the creation of God as you understand God from the teachings we've been taught. This planet was seeded with life by a race of benevolent aliens from a planet called Eden. It's located in the Centauri star system. And when I say life, I mean all of it, especially us. This race of beings are immortal, and for millions of years they developed all that has ever lived on this planet. It was their seed bank, lovingly referred to as the Garden of Eden, the most beautiful of all planets, by far is Earth. These beings were given the responsibility of populating vast assortment of planets in many places with plant and animal life. It was their job to create, to seed life. Unlike the story we were told, God does not work alone. As you see, we have angels speaking for all of you. And for the record, the entirety of the universe refers to Creator God as the One, and Creator is a fitting assertion. The One is neither alive or dead, male or female, good nor bad. Creator just is. Creator is life, all life. The One is responsible for creating all the framework which functions to provide an environment for.
All right, so we see that the One is the source. He's neither good nor bad, nor male nor female. Now, this is just according to the way he heard it, whoever he is, right? We'll get to who he is later. But the One is just the source, and he just makes everything available to be created. No Big Bang, no nothing. There are these beings that created us, though. These creators, they're called creators. They create us. These guys are immortal. They don't die. They are benevolent in spirit. They are only meant to do good. And they are here to create seeds, plants, and things for the planet. Now, we all got that clear. We heard, okay.
Everything to exist in. Creator created this planet, and all planets you will ever visit. The One was most impressed by the intelligent creatures that function to serve the universe Creator created, the immortals. They are benevolent in nature and guided by love. The craftsmen tasked with maintaining the integrity of what the One had created. Each variety is responsible for its own set of initiatives bestowed upon them. Some maintained light, some sound. Some created lesser beings to inhabit the planets our creators from Eden, seeded with life from their amazing garden, and so on. However, in the face of all the One had created, even Creator was not perfect.
Okay, so we see that these creations that the Creator made, the planets and everything, he made sub-creators to create, which are these immortals, right? And he was enjoyable about everything that they created. Now, some of them were creating light. Some of them were good for the sound. So we see sound and light come from good, benevolent beings, as well as the human creation to till the ground of what they made, of the birds and the seeds and everything, was made with good intention.
One had made only one mistake, but it was a big one. I'm not going to even pretend I understand it. But in the beginning, when the One was all there was, Creator became lonely. To combat this problem, the One divided itself by 25% to create another, lesser version of itself. This new number 2 quickly realized that's exactly what it was. Lesser. The One could have split in half and made them equal, but Creator didn't. And when the One finished what Creator had set out to do, create the universe, number 2 took offense to the fact Creator played no role whatsoever in all that was created. Upon realizing the sole purpose of number 2's existence was to keep the One from becoming lonely again, Creator decided to leave.
Okay, so we see now the one mistake that our Creator made, because he wasn't perfect. We're talking about the source here, the one that's not male nor female or whatever, even though they speak of him in a masculine frame. He separates himself to 25% because he's lonely. This may be where the Jesus Christ only begotten son theory comes in from all these cultures, right? But he separates himself, and because he becomes lonely, he does 25%. Now, let's agree, y'all. We have to agree 25% of the main source of creativity is a great number. This being is nowhere near stupid. This being is nowhere near weak. This being automatically knows that he is just here for comfort. Then he witnesses that the Creator, the One, the source, is not even responsible for creating the humans or the plants or the beautiful things in the galaxy, except for the things like the planets and stuff. And he kind of resents that. You didn't put me 50% or create any of this. So they have a fallout, and it becomes just back to none. Now the only thing we have is separation now.
Number 2 fell from grace and rejected Creator's place at the side of Creator's Creator and left. At the time, number 2 didn't realize it, but its choice to leave introduced something new to the universe. 2 things actually: conflict and free will. Number 2 took up residence in a far-off corner of the universe. It didn't take long to realize, though, Creator was all alone just as well, as the one had divided itself to solve the same problem. So too did number two. But number two didn't want to face the same dilemma. So Creator divided into six equal individuals. And they quickly set out to develop this corner of the universe into their very own version of what the rest of the universe was like. However, the division into six individuals had corrupted the very nature of what that being had been in the first place. And the result was a galactic society of miscreants, elites who care ninth division had separated more than just number two. It deleted key bits of knowledge and understanding from the consciousness of the whole universal subconscious. So when these six rejects seeded their own little corner in the universe, they didn't even realize or understand. All the creatures they created to reside on the planets had no soul intact. They were flesh and blood beings who only lived for a certain length of time.
So these beings that left with number two and started their own little section of the galaxy due to free will. This is the first time free will is introduced. The one is, because the source is so lonely, he doesn't even care. He's going off. He failed that project, so he's going off to probably make another type of attempt. And now we got a whole bunch of miscreants going around on another side of the galaxy thinking they're gods because they have this magnificent power or whatever, and they don't have souls or anything, so they don't have heart and love or nothing in them. All they're doing is floating around with power, looking to start something new and do stuff. So, you know, that's where we're at here. So they make up their whole fame of gods and who they are, and you know, this is the difference in where the beginning of the separation comes.
Would die one day. We were created from the one pure just the way we were, with a soul, for our reason, for a grand God created conscious reason. It was the intention of our creators for us to be the caretakers and guardians of the Garden of Eden. So this is where the soul was educated and prepared for our role in the afterlife of seeding planets. For us, that was our role after our time expired on Earth. Here we learned the needs of all the plants, animals, insects, and aquamarine life involved with our work. The knowledge was retained by the soul, and upon its arrival back on Eden, could begin working in the field of planet seeding almost immediately was the chore of all beings. When our creators made humans, we were made as two halves of a whole. One side of you in the subconscious would exist back home, and the other consciousness is here on Earth. It was a way to never forget home, and in times of struggle, a voice of reason to offer advice once self-aware love happened.
So they split the soul, basically. The soul that we have that these other beings don't have, because we were created by the one source when it was whole, by the creators of that one source. So when he separated, these other beings that were created became weaker than us, didn't have the knowledge that the one source had to make us with souls and things like that. So now they're just roaming around free while we have this. You know, so we're here on Earth, but we have another conscience that's stuck on the planet of our creators. And they did this on purpose. That's why you have a conscious and a subconscious. You know, your subconscious dwells with you in your physical body while your conscious dwells on the planet. The full conscious dwells over there on the planet, which is just half. But it's always, since you were young, you had that voice in your head telling you what's right and what's wrong. Even if your parents didn't tell you, you always had that voice. There's that conscience. But when you separate from love, like we know how easy it is to do on the earth today with these elites and everybody are trying to get you to do is separate from love, because they found out that it's the key to keep you connected to your conscience. But I'll let you go far. I'm going ahead of the video.
You my friend, so no matter what, you're never alone, like the one had once been. That voice in your head, your conscience, is actually your other half, and until the two halves are reunited, each functions as its own separate entity in favor of you. However, they share the telepathic link to each other, directly connected by loving. If you sway from love, you lose the connection. Of course, here in our day, they raised us to believe thinking anything other than it's your own voice that would get you locked up in a psych ward. Big threats to protect big secrets. Anyways, the educating of human souls and the evolution of the Garden of Eden went on with great success for hundreds of thousands of
food. It's time we got to know it a little better. We get it from more.
But yeah, basically you see it. It's basically how it's really breaking it down from the beginning, and it's making a lot of sense to see. He hasn't even got. Wait till he gets to the main points of what it is. You're gonna really be shocked at what he turns this into, and that's why I put these videos up here, because I know my viewers, they really into that, deep into that mindset where they can use common sense.
Fact. It was so successful humans were spread throughout the universe to populate the planets that had been seeded into conscious life. But then everything changed. By the way, I told you which star system Eden is in without feeling like I'm giving up a secret, because there are people here on Earth searching for it, and they already know. The Kepler telescope made a discovery this year, not 6 months ago. There is one particular planet quite close to Earth, like close enough where the technology here will allow a probe to make it there in a relatively short time. It's not Eden, but it's one step closer. They need to be stopped. I've tried more than once to stop them, and I've held the lives of humanity in my hands before. Since then, things have changed. I'll get to what happened. The process of getting home is entirely different. In the past, upon death, our soul immediately ascended back to Eden. It's no longer the case though. Now there are conditions, lessons that must be learned. You must become worthy of immortality first. You must be pure. The good news is, your soul is sent back to Earth as many times as it takes to get it right. How could I relay the same info as David or Lennon and never met either? Nobody has ever given up on. Leave no man behind is a God statement. Leave nobody, not even the most vile of human beings. We all eventually come to reason and get it right. This is why we should be helping each other. One day you will spend eternity with every single human here, unless we fall victim to the trap the elite have set in place. The system that captures your divine light. What that trap is will blow your mind. However, we aren't there yet. There's still more to understand first. Since the last attempt to stop these elite madmen, which is what brought the burning and torture of a group called the Knights Templar, nobody has dared to try and stop them again. And they have taken full advantage of this to secure their stranglehold on planet Earth. The Knights knew what I know, and they were about to tell. Once you know why, and what is at stake, you'll understand why I've made it my choice to confront these men and these lies.
Okay. Now he's basically about to get into it, y'all. He's really about to get into what's going on, and he's going to show you guys the real details here. Now, I want y'all to pay attention really closely here, because, you know, he shows you what... the reason why I like these videos, right, is because how he shows you, he puts it into the world scene, the political scene. You know, Christianity keeps it biblical with just the word of God. But no, this man's going to show you who these other beings that everyone keeps hearing about, the Anunnaki, the Sumerians, the so-called gods or whatever. He's going to show you where they come from and who they are and what their plans are and how they did us dirty. This is going to be dope. Check it out.
And take back our freedom. And we need to take that freedom not only from the hands of the elite tyrants who control us through money, but from the ones who destroy some of us by taking our souls. I'm talking about the church. You all know which one.
Y'all know.
They are the real influence behind these madmen running the world. There is none more powerful than the one we are all thinking about. The guy with the funny hat. None human anyways. Yeah, I just said that. But it's gotta be said. And someone had to say it. And
so we see that the guy with the funny hat, and we know what that hat represents. If you know what that hat represents, that's doggone the fish. That's the fish tribe, excuse me, you know what I'm saying? And that's basically Inky, you know what I mean? But that man just said they are not human, you know, and I agree. I believe these demons are not human, obviously, because they're demons. And
that's always been my role, to sound the alarm. But this time, the call will be heard. This time, the world is ready to hear it.
They are.
With my voice, David's, and many. The age of information has brought a new dimension, one we have never had available before. This time we have the ability to unite us all worldwide. And we are. And the souls of all the warriors who have ever lived and died at the hands of the elite are here helping. All of them. You're all here. Some will know it. Most don't, but you all will. The universe will not let you sleep until you accept the responsibility of fixing what we have always allowed.
Pretty deep. Pretty deep, man. Now he's going to your soul. What you got to do, what we have to do as people, come together.
To us. The elite aren't exactly like us, in case you haven't noticed. There is an empty void, a hole in all of them. It really is us versus them.
Yes,
you may believe we are all one and some spiritual awakening is on the horizon. But please, know this. There are two humanoid species living together here on Earth. And no, they are not shape-shifting reptilians. In all ways, they are identical to us, except for one thing. They don't have a soul, no spirit light. When they die, they are dead. That's it. No more. They are manufactured clones. Well, that's not true. There's one other thing that separates us from them. They will not, under any circumstances, wake up to see the world as we do, ever. These soulless shells I'm talking about are the elite, and they know what they are about and what they will never stop doing. There are others too who suffer an impairment of their soul, and they have no idea what they are. But
non-player characters. This is who they are.
I'll get to that later. It's imperative if we want to experience any kind of freedom again. We begin working together as one well-oiled machine. It's the only way we can move forward into a new age of enlightenment. Free from all the pain that you've accepted as your life on planet Earth. But it will not be easy. Look deep down inside yourself. That calling you've always felt inside you, but could never quite figure out. It is our home. It's Eden calling to us all, and your other half reaching for you. And they need you now, more than ever. I'm here on a mission with David and Minnie. I'm here with them to wake you up to what you used to be. Now,
I don't know who he's talking about, David, and maybe King David, whoever finally made it through the portal or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But you, like you said, you come back here many times, different things till you get it right. You know, you don't necessarily remember everything. Some do. But, yeah.
You are now and what we all need to do, to what you need to be. If we ever want to be freed from the nightmare we've been tricked into surrendering our lives to. I guess tricked isn't the best choice of words. They didn't trick us. They genetically modified us, is what they did over time. And that's the least of it. What I'm about to tell you now is where things get intense. What you think you know about the history of Earth and its many different inhabitants are all lies. And it's the job of the church to protect those lies. And the reward of protecting those lies goes to the enforcers of the lie, the illuminating. That reward is your life of servitude. And every man, woman, and child belongs to them. Because the elite know they are soulless shells of what we are. They hate us for having souls. Once I explain what they are lying about, and how far they've gone to protect the lie, you'll understand just how much hate for us they hold. The only other things that interest them are material riches and the thrill of feeling somehow superior as they treat us like garbage in our ruthless pursuit of the almighty dollar. And we allow it because deep down we feel like our souls will live on regardless. But that was the old way. All I can say is we were lucky that our creators had made it so only two humans that reproduced would have a child with one pure soul. So, just as everything was going completely as planned with the Garden of Eden, shit happened. There was an invasion on Eden and they lost. They are peaceful scientists, not warriors. The Anunnaki, a race of soulless beings from the corner of the universe.
So basically a war happened. You know, a couple 100,000 years passed. Everything was going sweet. They was doing what they supposed to do. They was learning the seeds and learning the plantation life, and even moving to other planets already and doing it. They were going to other planets already and starting to put seeds and things like that. So that's why you see them other planets like that sometimes, where you say, oh, look at that, there's something on that planet, whatever. Then you'll see a spacecraft, and some of you got videos of spacecrafts where they look just like humans, or heard that they look like humans, because that's what they are, you know. So they just maybe a little more advanced than us, because they didn't have to suffer what Eden is about to suffer when these Anunnaki Nibiru planet comes through and takes over the planet. Now, these people, like he said, they were scientists and good people just studying and learning the plants. They're not fighters and warriors, where these people are soulless, coming here and ruthless with power.
Developed by what had once been number two, had come seeking knowledge. They required technology to save the atmosphere of the planet they came from, Nibiru. But Eden refused to help them. They were not in the business of cooperating with any of the soulless abominations created by the six-headed beast, which had manifested from the peace of the one.
Six-headed beast. That came from the peace of the one. Is this where 666 comes from? Because the number 2 made the six-headed beast.
Creator had given up to address its loneliness, and the Anunnaki replied in force. In the process of taking what they came for, they also discovered the location of Earth. They left Eden in near ruins and made...
Hi, I'm Christine, founder of UNI.com.
All right, so we see Earth and Eden are 2 different places, right? But one of the same. And we see that they came in not looking for knowledge to help their own planet. And these guys are giants. They're big and they're strong and powerful, you know?
Sensitive, essential information about all life, and about planet Earth in particular. The Anunnaki first arrived on planet Earth during a cleansing period around 300,000 years ago. Once all of the different species were properly sampled and classified, or if circumstances required it, the scientists in charge would initiate a cleansing, the eradication of the old, to usher in the new. The idea being to repeat the same process with new varieties of plants and animals, as they were developed and created. As I said, the human being is one half of a whole. On Eden, our other half works to create all the plant and animal life that is taken to Earth for mass production. So
we're basically a spirit on our planet. We're spiritual form, and we're making plants and things like that just to be taken by our physical forms and made onto the planets to make the place beautiful, or from benevolent good beings. These soulless things never seen nothing like this, never understood or don't understand anything of it. So they're trying to study it and learn it. But they're scientists as well, and smart and brutal though. So they take us and they re-engineer us, and as they study us or whatever. Now I said they came here 300,000 years ago, and Earth had already been flourishing for about a couple 100,000 years. So, you know, it basically just feels like that we found that oldest skull for 300,000 years, but that doesn't explain the knowledge of how long we actually really been here. So this is all breaking down so much information in this video. That's why I played them here for you guys today, because I want you guys to comment, tell me what you think.
Had provided a master set of a select number of plants and animals. These scientists then used the endless possibility of combinations to genetically combine these master life forms into everything living we've ever seen here on Earth. The half that was involved with the genetic creation of a specific plant or animal on Eden worked telepathically with its other human half as it nurtured and developed that individual life form here on Earth. One half births the species, the other half raises it. This particular ice age was also to repair a structural issue with the drainage system. A series of massive trenches and gullies were needed, and the only thing powerful enough to dig them were migrating glaciers. The humans all relocated to Africa during that time, moved by ships sent from Eden. Unfortunately, this relocation turned out to be the very thing that gave full advantage to the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki were quite pleased with initial test samples they took upon arrival. This planet was rich with monatomic gold, just as the stolen information from Eden had stated. The information from Eden provided them with the formula used to create or repair an atmosphere. Monatomic gold is the key ingredient. and they needed a lot. The first thing the Anunnaki did was set in motion a chain of events which accelerated the melting process. There was a large area, though, where life was...
So they came down, seeing that we had all the good materials and everything they needed to fix their planet. So they made alchemy. They did scientific things to speed the process up, to make the gold come up faster.
Thriving, and the climate was fairly stable. Here the Anunnaki found a creature they hoped could be used as workers for the massive job of mining the earth. Humans. However, these creatures were quite different than anything the Anunnaki had ever encountered. They seemed intelligent enough, but they were impossible to deal with. Nothing, not fear, not pain, not even watching their friends die would sway them to what the Anunnaki wanted them to do. It was almost like they had one purpose and couldn't do anything else even if they wanted. But what it really was love for their home and an outright refusal to damage, destroy, alter, or manipulate the earth at the Anunnaki's request. That, and the humans knew something was wrong. They could feel it in their souls, and the voice of their conscience echoed a desperate warning of impending doom. The Anunnaki even tried, unsuccessfully, claiming they were the ones who created the humans. However, at that time, the Anunnaki were unaware of the connection the humans had to their other subconscious.
So they basically try to come down here, didn't understand, they seen us, like, look, we could make them work. Look at these things. But then as noticing us, they're like, wait, these things are different. They have like this fight, like they're just naturally built to fight one purpose. You know, it's like, then they see that, you know, they try to get us to do certain things, but they didn't know that we had a soul inside of us. They didn't know that we were connected to something else, you know. So when they came upon that realization, it was like,
just half back on Eden. The Anunnaki were, in fact, very intelligent creatures. However, a series of genetic manipulations performed on the male humans would solve the problem, or so it was believed. One by one, the male humans were captured and
So they took the male humans and they said if they could just change up the male humans, it should solve the problem for whatever their stubbornness is, not to listen to us, not to follow us, not to believe us that we're their gods. They even try to say that they're our gods who created us, and we're supposed to bow down to them. But they didn't know our consciousness was telling us, no, they're not. You know what I mean? So they try to do something with the human man here, the DNA. But that's where you see all your medical signs, right? All them old historical medical signs, like the two serpents going on, the helix with the wings. That's from them. You know what I'm saying? There's all of this stuff, the DNA symbol, all the stuff they see, the pine cone, the pineal, it's all from them. Yeah, that's weird, huh? Once you see the end of the videos, you're going to understand why it's weird.
With a DNA upgrade that would eventually change the fate of the inhabitants of the Garden of Eden. It would just be a matter of time. The Anunnaki, having completed the genetic tampering, prepared to leave. They needed to give the melting process of the ice-covered planet time to do its thing. A small team was assembled and would remain...
So they basically hit us with an ice age, froze it up so they can redo us, you know what I mean? Constructure us and stuff like that, our DNAs and things. Trying all type of stuff on us. This is all going on a couple 100,000 years ago. Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
Of the inhabitants of the Garden of Eden, it would just be a matter of time. The Anunnaki, having completed the genetic tampering, prepared to leave. They needed to give the melting process of the ice-covered planet time to do its thing. A small team was assembled and would remain on Earth to manage and maintain the breeding process of the humans. This task was put into the hands of an op scientist named Enki. Enki was a powerful member of the upper echelon of Anunnaki hierarchy. This covert team would stay hidden and remain secretly among the humans. Enki was very interested in studying the progress on the rate of change in these creatures. The Anunnaki had an amazing gift bestowed by the six-headed beast which created them. They had the power to shape-shift or transform into whatever they needed to be. So they took on human form. Enki stood among the humans and watched as the other Anunnaki boarded their ship and left Earth. At that point, the changes to the human mind had not taken over yet. And as the ship left, a legend was born about the ones who came from the sky in black clouds that burned in the sky. And in telling this legend, the first of the changes began to materialize in the hearts and minds of the recently injected men. As fear.
So you see the whole plot? After the ice kind of melts down, that they did their little plan to freeze us, keep us on chill, and alter our DNA, they leave off. And then we have this mystery about the sky people who came and left, right? Where'd that mystery been told from first? Africa, the doggone tribe, right? Don't they tell you about Sirius, Star B, how the sky people came down and gave them this? Then they tell you that they migrated all the people, Inky migrated them all to Africa. So that would mean Africa would have the first story about them and didn't know exactly where they came from, because it wasn't hard to see that back then, how we were connected as humans. But what they did was set a narrative for us to be like, those were the gods and everything like that. And with our altered DNA, it basically weakened us throughout the time to not be with ourselves and lose that love of our conscience as well. You know, so it's basically a whole setup happening. But if you notice, the scientist Inky, it's like a movie. It's like in the movies you watching, and this alien race comes and takes over this planet. Rah, rah, rah. Then it's like, all right, they're about to leave, but here comes, we're going to assign Inky to it. And they bring Inky down. He's coming. Now you see this big god that's coming on your planet. You don't know he's all about destruction. And he's going to sit here and roam with y'all for the next 100,000 years, because he notices something about y'all that his other counterparts can't notice, because he's the head scientist. Inky, if you don't know the story of the Anunnaki, is the half-brother of Jehovah God, Yahweh, Enlil. Enlil is Jehovah's other name, his original name. And Inky is his brother, his half-brother. You know, so they're basically the head gods. And that's where he comes to Earth, noticing that these humans here are very unique, and he wants to study them. So he sends the rest of his peoples back saying, don't worry, guys, I got this. Let me handle this. And as they said, they can shapeshift, as we see a lot doing on TV today. Y'all think that stuff is not real when y'all be seeing them videos with them people shapeshifting? Well, guess what? It is. They shapeshift. These guys have the ability to do so. So they dwelled among us all the time to study us, because they wanted this immortality, this gift that we have. But I'll let it go on.
Crept in and filled them with a brand new perspective on life. This new emotion clashed heavily with the very limited emotional database humans had been living with up to this point. It only took a few generations of reproduction for Inky to realize something had gone wrong. By this stage, there should have been significant changes in the way this creature's mind worked. But the change was minimal at best. These creatures were learning to simply adapt, and somehow they retained the sense of self-worth they had always enjoyed. Frustrated, Inky began a series of experiments on his modified humans. What he discovered shocked and amazed him. In ways he could not understand, it appeared this creature was in fact two creatures. Inky began to decipher a series of files that were part of his spoils of war from the invasion of Eden. And what he learned, he could not believe. These creatures had something called a soul-alighted spirit, something he had never heard of, something that made these creatures immortal, another totally new concept to Inky, everlasting life. And he wanted that. In fact, he became obsessed with the idea. So obsessed that Inky entirely forgot why he had attempted to change the humans in the first place.
Do you hear that? Do you see how this is making so much sense? Inky comes down here because he just wants to take over the project. Like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take over. I'm the scientist. I want to study this new place. They invade our home country, Eden. They get all that information from invading our homeland and find Earth. Then they find us, and they're like, oh, shoot. Then they try to do all this stuff to control us because they see that we're barren, like we got some kind of thing in us. They do all the ice and everything to control us with the DNA splicing. Notices that we still, for some reason, are reluctant that we didn't do what they thought we would do, to the point where he examines us closer and notices that, wait a minute, this person is surely two beings. They notice that we are now two beings. We have a light soul that lives on. Now, mind you, these people die. They don't live forever. They live about 300,000 years and they're done. So now Inky, who wants to outdo his brother, because that's the story of the Anunnaki, you got to do your homework. Inky, who wants to outdo his brother, you know, he knows that they don't know this. He knows that the rest of the clan don't know this about these species. So he's going to try to manifest and harness this immortality so he can go back and knock his brother, Jehovah God, Yahweh, down, and he could be the king. See, it's real deep. This story makes way more sense.
All that mattered was finding a way to implant or replicate one of these souls into himself.
He done forgot his whole plan.
Experiment after experiment failed. And as these further modified humans got released back among the others, the more damaged the integrity of the humans became.
Dang.
After several more generations, significant changes could be seen. So much so that they began to change in their physical appearance over time.
Now I want y'all to pay attention to this part, okay? Because he just said it. He's done tried over and over again to mimic what we had. You done forgot your whole plan on why you here to save your planet. And because you so stuck on these immortal beings. You know what I'm saying? And you want this immortality so bad, you done forgot your whole plan. You don't wind up having sex with these things, trying to mimic and make a baby with them. You done try to live through your children. You done made modified versions of them that got weaker, that were weaker than the average, and it's just had a bunch of imbeciles running around basically doing crazy stuff that were trying to be like the humans.
Not only mentally, as the modification was initially supposed to be, the most significant change being the color of some of the creature's skin. There seemed to be several distinct skin tones and physical attributes appearing.
White people, please don't get mad right here. This is just a video that is explaining stuff, even though it's making hella sense. But this is where you come from. This is where I wouldn't show these videos today if I didn't believe that what they're saying on these videos. That's why I'm showing, because it makes the most sense to me. Now he's going to break it all down for you.
Though Inky had yet to discover the secret of the soul, he was forced to return his attention back to creating a workforce for the mining operation. He was rather impressed with one particular group that stood out from the others. It appeared this group was going to be the dominant one. This dominant version of a human had changed almost entirely in color. It began with deep dark brown skin like they all had in the beginning.
Like they all
but
had.
Now it had transformed to become pale and light colored, very much like Inky himself. Up till this point, Inky and his crew had lived unnoticed among the humans. But it was time for a change. It was now about 190,000 Earth years since the Anunnaki had left in their flying spaceship, leaving Inky and his crew behind. Inky and his kind lived to be about 360,000 years old in Earth terms, which meant if he was going to complete the actual mission he was here for, he would have to find success soon. His age was creeping up on him.
So you see how that went? We were all black and brown at first. The human race, the whole human race. Inky comes and starts splicing and messing with our genetics, and we start changing. It was supposed to be just mental changes at first, but it became physical. Our skin tone started lightening up, and we became white and pale like he was. And then they were more reluctant to help. They were more enabled to help him, enamored to help him than they were their own beings they were taken from. So they joined on his side to go against the darks of their own race. You see how this is playing out? He only has a certain amount of time to live because he knows he's been 150,000 years there already, and plus what he lived a little bit before on his own planet. So he only probably got 50 to 100,000 years left in his life. 360,000 years. That's about the same as the year, right? 365 days of a year. See, these people sparked everything in this culture that we live. Doesn't matter what race you, what religion you, what color you are. And I'm going to show you in the next video, they're going to show you that doesn't matter. And they're showing you right now the beginning on how it all started. We were all brown and black until he started manipulating our genes.
The ice sheets that had once covered the Earth had been greatly diminished by this time, and the redistribution of the humans could begin. Inky had sent for the Anunnaki to return. Upon arrival, the first mission was to gather all the humans of each kind based on their skin color. Then, each race was strategically dispersed around the world to the locations that were no longer inhospitable. There were 4 distinct races based solely on skin tone: dark brown, light brown, yellow, and white. The first 3 races were relocated in their entirety and kept together. The white race, however, was divided into 3 groups. See you soon on the next episode.
Okay. So we see here, let me get this together real quick. So we see here, if that didn't make sense to you right there, if this video doesn't make any sense to you, if you were, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Basically, he separated them. Why did you keep the 3 groups separated? Because they were of the dark. They were closer to that darkness. Anything that was close to them, you kept them. You felt the white group was more close to you and more pale skin like you, and they were more like willing to help you. They were more willing on your end, or your side, you know what I mean, with the Catholics and with all the people that you had set in place to govern the world. You know, so that's where we have this separation, this racism thing going on right here. It makes a lot of sense, don't you think? Right, so you put them all in one spot and kept them all in, and you took them and made them feel different, and now it causes a separation. They're going to break it down in the next video really deeply for you, and like I said, a lot of people are going to probably disagree. But you disagree with a lot of things, don't you? You went to church and was disagreeing that God is the devil and all that stuff too, didn't you? You thought that Jehovah God was doing good for the world and he was, you know, really just the father of Jesus. Didn't you believe that? So you believe a lot of things that you shouldn't believe, right? You probably believe some other stuff too back in the day, Santa Claus and all that crap, holidays. So what's the difference here? At least this one is making sense, right? So I will get to the next video. I just want to let y'all go ahead and eat this one up, see what we go here, and see what type of responses you get for this one. And we'll go from there.